So let's go to main CSS, right? And make it this screen smaller over here. And we have a end of Jumbotron, right? So right away we can make two comments, right? So this is gonna be a work section, and this is gonna be the end of work section, right? So this is gonna be work, and here we're gonna say that this is gonna be end of work section over here like this, and in between the comments, right, we're actually gonna work with a rules and properties and values and all that, right? So the first thing that we want to do is we want to create a work over here like this, and this is going to be the ID that we're going to be targeting, right? And over here we're just going to write, and let me show you where we're working, right? So we're actually selecting this ID work, right? And over here what we want to do is actually change the background color, right? So we're going to say background, and we're going to say color over here like this, and we're going to use that gray one over here like this. So let's just go and check it out where we have it, right? Where was the gray one? Gray one was this one, right? So we're just going to go back over here, and we're going to copy this and slide it all the way here, and we're going to paste it, and we'll see whether we have it or we don't, right? So let's just check it out. Are we selecting it, or I have actually missed something in index.html, right? So we have divs, we have this, and you can see that I actually didn't add the ID. So over here, if I write work as my ID, now it should actually work, right? So we just save this, and we go back over here, and we're targeting work, and you can see now I put two hashtags. So now we have our work section that has a background of dark gray color, right? So let's again create a little bit more space so it's easier for us to work in, right? And over here what we're going to do is we're going to start targeting the header, right? And this is going to be our header, right? And just for the work section, we're just going to target it and make it a little bit different. So we're going to say work, and then we're going to actually target a class header, right? So now you can see that just for this work section, I want to target this header, and I'm going to say that I would want a different padding, and I would want like 40 pixels, right? So you can see the rules is going to create it a little bit bigger, just so it looks a little bit better. Then after that, we're going to create a work over here like this, and we're going to say that these columns, right? The reason for that is I want to get rid of these paddings, right? You can see that this is not what I want. I actually want them to have 0 paddings. It's very simple, again, because we know that we created these columns. We know that there's 4 columns that have actually class over here like this, like 4 divs that has a class of this columns small 6, right? So you can see that right away I'm selecting all of them, right? And you can see these little paddings. This is what I would want to get rid of, right? And I'm going to say that this is going to be very easy. This is going to be padding left, and I'm going to say 0. Right, and the same way I'm going to say padding, and this is going to be padding right 0, right? So what happens is that because I styled them 100% style width, remember, like we had a style and it was 100%, right? So once we got rid of the paddings, they're actually nice and neat. And the good news is right away, because we had the same sizes and everything, right? We don't need to crop the images anywhere or nothing like that, right? So with Lorem Pixel, we right away can achieve this, where they right away look exactly all the same, right? And because we're using Bootstrap, they're obviously, let's say in the small screen, they're taking exactly half the size, right? And obviously, if you want, you can check it out that on medium, they're going to be actually taking 25%. Now, after that, what I would want to do is I would actually want to start creating this zoom effect, right? And the first thing that I would want to do is actually target the image, right? So I would want to say that work, right, over here, and then I would say image, and as I'm hovering, I would want to technically zoom in into the image, right? And the way we would do that, we actually use a transform property, right? And we say that we want to scale, right? And we say that we would want to scale like, let's say 1.3, right? And what's going to happen as we're zooming, right? You can see that we're going to be zooming in, right? Now what's going to happen is that actually the image also gets bigger, right? And maybe it is a little bit annoying. So what we would need to do is we would need to get rid of this overflow property. You can see that it's actually, you can see that the actual image is overflowing. And therefore we created this, well, that was another reason why we created this image box. And over here, if we go back, and if we again target this work, but in this case not an image, but the actual box where it's sitting, right? The div where it was actually sitting, image box. And if we just write those image boxes, overflow should be hidden, right? So we write overflow and we say hidden, right? So what's going to happen right now is you can see that it's not going to be changing, but it's actually going to be zooming in, right? So we're going to be zooming in without actually getting our image bigger, because we got rid of this overflow property for the image, for the div box where the image is sitting. Then after that, what we want to do is, you can see that it's a little bit annoying that it's kind of, robotic, right? We would probably want it to be much more smoother, right? And the way we would do that is, again, we would target the image, just the image itself, not while we're hovering, right? And we would say that all the transitions that should happen, right? All of them should be actually with ease, right? So over here we would write work and we would write image, and then we have an option, right? We can write transition all or just specific transition, right? So over here we write a transition, right? And then we can select a particular one, right? Because we're using transform, right? So we write transform over here like this, and then we would want to say that, let's say this is going to take like 4 seconds, and then we can use another property. This is ease in and out, right? Something like this. So if we save this, right, you can see that it's going to take much more longer. So it looks much more nicer, right? As we're zooming in like this, right? So again, maybe let's make it a bigger screen over here like this. So where we're zooming in like this, you can see how nicely we have this image, right? And that's going to be pretty much for the CSS, how to over here, how to create this work section. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is actually we're going to add a jQuery plugin. So we have a lightbox, right? So let's go ahead and do that. And let's go ahead and get that jQuery plugin.